Let's talk about a few other issues that seem to be bubbling to the surface a little bit related to the tax bill. One is the sales tax on farm machinery repair services, and another would be the sales tax on storage units. What are you hearing from businesses and farmers as you travel the state right now and as these provisions become?
Well, not a lot yet, because I think people really haven't digested some of the sales tax changes. What I wanted to do, and that were initiatives on the part of the Senate, is I wanted to do sales tax reform. We proposed a much broader program that was finally enacted into law. Our provision would have actually lowered the sales tax rate from 6.5% down to 6%. But the governor didn't want to impose any new sales taxes on consumers. And what I wanted to do in the context of larger sales tax reform was take the sales tax off of cities and counties. I think it's very poor tax policy to have them collect sales tax or remit sales tax and have to collect property taxes to pay it. And then I wanted to do the upfront exemption on capital equipment for business purchases. Very expensive, about $150 million to allow businesses to get an upfront exemption versus having to go through the refund process. The governor had a lot of anxiety about sales tax reform. He had proposed a larger, much broader sales tax reform proposal early in the session that he later backed away from. But he did want to do those two provisions that I wanted to do. So we went looking for, is there a menu of sales tax provisions that we could enact to pay for these two reforms that I think most Minnesotans agree are the right policy. And those are the things we settled on, and we specifically delayed the warehousing sales tax provision until next April because it hadn't been well vetted over at the Department of Revenue, and we're not sure what potential implications are. I met with some representatives of warehousers earlier this week and have told them, you have to bring me real examples. You just can't say it's going to hurt my business. You have to show me real examples of where business is going to leave Minnesota and not going to warehouse here any longer because of this tax provision. And if there are unintended consequences in that, it's something we'll certainly revisit next year.
Yeah, this whole warehousing sales tax that has been talked about, even though it's going to have a delayed implementation, there are people who already today are beginning to make plans about how they're going to handle that. I think that's going to have a very, very dramatic impact if it stays in place, and there's been some talk about it already from Democrats even, about maybe repealing that portion of the law. So I think as businesses look at the effects of these laws and what they're going to have to do to comply compared to other places, other states, I think there's going to be decisions made that will have a negative effect on Minnesota's economy and the potential for investment and growth in Minnesota. We should be, I think, very concerned about that.